Hello, I'm Toycat, and good news everybody, while I was in the air, a brand new Snapshot came out for the Java edition, and in it is the Creaking, the Pale Garden, and 20 other features that I can show you right here, because they're officially available for us to play with in Snapshot form. They're not yet in the betas and previews, but they are here to look at if you want to see them, but rather than doing the boring showcase that I'm sure you expect from many YouTubers at this point, yes, there is a Snapshot, you can go look at it yourself. I figured I would instead do the much more exciting thing of answering some of the biggest questions by doing experiments, and so today I'll be answering 8 big questions that you might have had about 1.22, at least that I've had so far. And let's start by answering your big question about this, because yes, you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more high quality airport videos. I'm in one of the coolest looking ones in the world. Look at this, there's a forest with a waterfall through it, so I apologize for the audio quality if that's getting in the way of this. But as I walk into this forest, let's talk about what you can find in the new Pale Forest. It's definitely a forest and not a garden. And I guess I'll start by explaining the reason that we have so many questions, and it's the fact that Minecraft Live did show us all of the features which are in the snapshot. This is still a very big snapshot, therefore, and that is not anything that's particularly surprising, but it is worth mentioning, therefore, that there are lots of things that we didn't get the finer details for at Minecon, and so one of those big questions I had was with regards to the Creaking. If you go onto Peaceful, what would happen to it? Would the Creaking despawn like some hostile mobs, or would it become non-hostile like, say, the Piglin? This is something which raises a lot of questions about its design, but right now, at least, when you go to Peaceful, it despawns, as you can see. That was the first big question I had, but the second one was with regards to the new hanging moss and all of the other fun moss blocks. Do they have any uses in the game, or are they solely for decorations? They spoke about them like they're exclusively decorative, but, you know, most people would probably use Crimson Vines as purely decorative, so are these blocks that you can do anything with? Maybe climb, maybe do something fun with? And the answer to that, as you can see right here, seems to be no. Harrison's trying to jump real hard right here, and he's not able to jump into there. And is that what it should do? I don't think we need more sources of Crimson Vines especially, but it is worth saying that this is just a block that's meant to obscure your vision. It is purely visual only, something that might be a surprise. Speaking of something that might be a surprise, one of the demos they showed us off at Minecraft Live was the idea that you could use a piston to activate the Creaking Heart. However, can you deactivate the... if you can activate it with a piston, can you deactivate it with a piston? And I feel like after looking at the results of this, it's kind of not as conclusive as I was necessarily hoping for, but what I do find interesting that we accidentally solved while answering this question is that you can use a stripped log as well as a regular log, and so if you wanted to, you could go into a pale forest and you could strip every single log block if you wanted to. Something else I find interesting is the generation of the pale forest. We're usually in Minecraft, anything that can generate once when the world spawns, you have some way to get your hands on otherwise, but not with the Creaking Heart. This Creaking Heart block will only spawn in naturally generated trees, and so therefore, if you grow your own tree from saplings, as you might well want to do to get lots of this wood, you're not going to get any of these Creaking Hearts. Very interesting, right? Speaking of interesting things, would a player place Creaking Heart have a, kind of friendly Creaking is one of the big questions I've been wondering for a while, because let's say you place down the Creaking, let's say you do the thing they did in the demo, would that Creaking actually be friendly to you, or would it just be hostile to everything and therefore useful in that way? As you can see, a Creaking didn't spawn naturally, so we used the spawn egg here. That might have affected the results, because as you can see right here, he ignores me, but also it looks like he probably would be ignoring everything. He's kind of just standing there doing nothing, and I can punch him to death like it's creative. And so again, this is the fun thing about asking questions like this. You learn all sorts of odd behaviors which maybe you weren't even expecting to see. By the way, speaking of not expecting to see, here is me looking away from him, and he is very much hostile towards me. So the answer to this question, the answer to is a Creaking that you summon yourself friendly, is it like an Iron Golem? The answer is no. Speaking of the Iron Golem, are the Creaking and the Warden friends? Have they explored each other's bodies? This is a reference to if you don't know what this is a reference to, then you're much better off than seeing the tweet that came from this, but it is worth mentioning that the Iron Golem and the Creaking are not friends at all. If you want to defend your base, the Iron Golem is still the way to do that, and with regards to the Warden, it's kind of funny, because after trying this, immediately after spawning the Creaking, the Golem said, oh, there's another one of these, let's kill him too. So pro tip, if you want to go into the Pale Forest, sorry, the Pale Garden. I mean, there's so much gardening going on here, I don't know how I can not picture it as one, but if you want to go into the Pale Garden, then bringing Iron Golem looks like a good strategy. As to the actual answer to the question, are the Creaking and the Warden friends? Well, given that they are two kind of opposite mobs when it comes to vision, the answer to this question is surprising, because it is, as you can see right here, no, actually, they have a very, very aggressive relationship, not just towards me, but also towards each other. If you summon a bunch of Creakings, that seems to be true too, and so keep that in mind if you want to know about this. Speaking of things you want to know, I wanted to know about how the Pale Forest would actually interact with other blocks. So bear in mind, there are two parts to a biome in Minecraft. There are the blocks that generate there, and then there is the biome itself. The biome itself is what really interested me here, though. One of the most fun examples of that biome versus blocks difference, by the way, would have to be where I am right now. I'm in the Middle East, which I hear is the hot place to be right now. Lots of exciting things happening here, but the Middle East is largely a desert biome, right? However, the particular part of the Middle East I'm in spawned as a desert biome, but then people who were making Hamad International Airport here in Qatar decided to make a rainforest right in the middle here. It's absolutely nuts that this can exist just between gates, and I really am amazed by it, by the way. However, that is just proof that you can build all of this in any biome you want, but also, if you choose to do that, then obviously all of these plants require much more water, and it's a very hard thing to move the plants out of the biome, but you can do that. They're just going to be slightly different, and in Minecraft too. If you place your oak leaves in the desert, they're going to be slightly more wilted. There's no water solution there, and so my question is, if you took all of the other woods, what would happen if you placed them in, or rather all of the other leaves, the grasses, the things that change per biome, what would happen if we placed them in a pale forest? And as you can see, they do get a lot more dull, more than I was expecting, if I'm being totally honest, which is a super, super cool thing. Front camera really sucks. I have no idea what it is. I've got a folding phone. I guess the inside just never gets any use. It feels like I'm talking to you on a 2012 webcam, which is, I guess, appropriate given the way this video is coming about, because my flight is in 30 minutes, and I've really got to finish talking about everything else here. So let's go into the last other questions that you might have had about this update, at least some of the big ones that I did. Oh, last call. Sounds pretty serious. Okay, I'm in a bit more of a hurry now, but there are some other big questions that I wanted to know the answer to, and I'm not going to end this video till I can give them to you, because pale wood does seem as though it's got to have a clear, extra benefit of its own, and given that the pale forest would be such an easy biome to solve if you could just light the whole thing on fire, I figured that it might be fire resistant, and so you know the drill. You know the only way to test this one. I visited a non-subscriber's house, because statistically greater than 99.9% of house fires happen to them, and as you can see, it turns out that their houses are flammable even when they're made from pale wood. This sort of makes sense by itself, but then raises the question of like, yeah, actually this is a biome that isn't a threat by itself. I think that without a structure of its own, it's not necessarily going to be the biggest challenge, and so therefore on the talk of structures, let's talk about generation, because I figured it would be fun to work out how these things generate. My theory, given what they've done the last few times they've added a biome, is that it would be a sub-biome of the dark oak forest, and this does seem to be true. If you look at some before generation and some after generation, you can see that pretty clearly here, but it is worth mentioning that when you have the pale forest remove or replace the dark oak forest, you don't get woodland mansions inside of those. I think that this is a bit of a shame. I think that the minimum they could do is make the woodland mansions generate there too, give you an extra spooky type of mansion that has creakings involved. Haven't you seen just in this video how fun that is? But I think they could go a step better, and like we've done here, you know, something that is impossible to resist. Again, Harrison definitely feels the same way I do here, but if there is going to be a brand new type of roof forest, as there effectively is, doesn't it make a lot of sense for there to be a brand new type of woodland mansion? Even if you add 0 new rooms to this thing and just make it white, I think it would be cool by itself. People would understand, because as it stands right now in this snapshot, again, the earliest development that's only available on Java, not on Bedrock, as it stands right now, they've just cut down the woodland mansion spawn rate, and given that it's such a rare structure already, is that really necessary? Could they maybe not make it a downside, but make it a huge upside that they're removing some of these biomes? That's what I think they could do, and that is why I wanted to give you this last raw answer to a question. Indeed, this whole video has hopefully been fun in that way, because it's been a fun opportunity. Man, the airport is just filled with noises. I'm sorry about that. My god, it's like they don't even realize that people use the airport for recording their Minecraft news videos. So inconsiderate to have all these announcements and all this background chatter, but I will persevere, and I will finish up today to say that, yeah, this is these are the immediate tests that I wanted to run, and I wanted to do this because obviously Mojang have put this into snapshot form, not beta form. They put it into snapshot form not just to say we're beginning the 2-month process of getting this out into your hands, but hopefully because they want to see some feedback, and rather than just giving broad feedback of like, I like this texture, this mob is good, I want to give some feedback of, yeah, why don't you make it so that there is a some form of structure, some reason to be there, because right now it's an easy challenge with an easy out without any real gameplay loop to be there, besides, oh, it's a fun rare biome that you might find, but that fun rare biome has huge downsides for the rest of the game in the form of the Woodland Mansion, something I hope that they are planning to address. If you're curious as to why they are only bringing this out on Java, we don't have an official reason. We just have a lack of preview on the Bedrock version of the game, and we have a confirmation that that is intentional. So yeah, I guess I rolled out, they rolled out the 1.20, 1.40 update last week. Something happened, which means they couldn't roll out this next one, but that means we don't still know, even though we have all of these features and we can test them, we still don't actually know whether this is 1.20, 1.50, or 1.22. And so for now, we can just say, I hope that whatever they call this update, whenever they release it, whether in behind experimental or in general, I hope that they consider what it takes to make the update actually something which has that nice reason to go out and find it, because right now it's a rare biome on the other part of your world that has unique features that can only be found there, but is easily defeated if you were, and that doesn't, there's not really any purpose to bring it back, because the only reason that I could argue you would go there for is the hanging moss, and that is purely decorative, and decorative in an ugly way. Maybe you want to go there to make your savanna trees look super ugly. I mean, look at these guys again. Sorry, just one more time. I think the cherry tree is the only one that looks good here, but still not as good. The point is to say is that I think right now there is a bit of a break in the gameplay loop, and I also think there's a bit of a break in the world generation, but I do have confidence that the point of this snapshot period, and starting maybe next week, or maybe tomorrow, or maybe in 2 weeks, hopefully it's that one, so I'm actually back from all this crazy travel, but hopefully they'll be able to address that. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching it, and thank you for Harrison putting together this video so you can actually see something. It looks as though he started to crash the frame rate on his Mac a little bit when he decided to show off the burning Woodland Mansion. But yeah, I absolutely love the look of this Pale Mansion. I love that I could get this video to you, even if it's a little bit later than I would have hoped. And I also love this snapshot cycle beginning. I just don't love that they decided to specifically plan when I would be in the air for 7 hours with nothing, with internet that was going at 0.1 megabytes a second. But I'm here, I'm done, and I'm going to board my flight if they'll let me. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, actually, tomorrow I think I'm going to have a video about Minecraft's errors. On Saturday, I'm hoping to have... there's a lot of things that should hopefully still be going up even though I'm gone, including the best free maps on the marketplace and a run review. It's going to be a good week for content on the channel, and I hope you're looking forward to it, because I'm looking forward to taking a small rest, although I picked the worst time to do it. Anyway, have a good day. See you next time. Bye.